Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sylphin. It has been since last September since I have made a video, which gives you an idea of just how busy and how focused I have been on Fault. And now that 13.6 is here, we've kind of hit a milestone, in my opinion, as to the development of Fault. And I really want to get back into making regular content, into diving myself into the game of Fault and enjoying it, having fun, covering it, covering the patch notes, delving into stuff, mostly gameplay and patch note stuff. Probably not the math, since I probably shouldn't do that as one of the developers. So, but we will see. All right, patch 13.6, again, for me, it's a milestone, and maybe you'll see why. There's some items, last patch, really, with Lesser Helix, and shrines, rebuffs, and the jungle leveling system, and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of really, the gameplay is hopefully rounded out, and the depth, all of the objectives, kind of there for you to really enjoy and love. So, very excited, and I hope you guys are too. So, let's get right into it. We have some hot fixes that were done. Stacking jungle items, can't do that anymore. New surrender pop-up location, so it's not blocking your minimap, and so that's not really, well, it didn't really block it, so it's a little bit more noticeable. And collision issues on part of the map. Good old Espada doing absolutely fantastic work. So we have new items, Cloak of Fortune. Basically, when you're about to hit 25% health, a shield occurs, absorbs some damage, 150 base time plus 22 per hero level, absorbing the damage and decaying over 3 seconds. Great here for ADCs, attack speed, crit, and movement speed, or if it's going some crazy crit build perhaps for Kalari or something like that, it'd be fantastic. And movement speed. So I'm really excited to try it out. Won't be a first item, probably shouldn't be a second item, but if you're if there's a Countess on the enemy team, perhaps, if there's some really bursty mages, this might be actually really good. Might actually be really good. And you gain 50% life steal for 6 seconds. So pretty sick plays, cooldown 120 seconds. Pretty sick plays that could probably happen, and relatively cheap for ADC items. 26,600 gold. Really exciting, and an awesome item art, item icon there by Art Bang. Just, yeah, doing really good work. So that's really exciting. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. New boots of all things. Unique Stoic Greaves, unique passive, reduce basic attack damage received by 10%. 100 move speed, 25 physical armor, and 1100 gold cost. So same gold cost as other boots, besides the supports and shades, but physical armor now. So first physical armor boots that you can get. So in certain matchups, especially in the solo lane, and even if in the jungle, you got a lot of physical armor on the enemy team, lots of basic attack damage. Hey, they can get it. Really going to help diversify your boot options and bring more strategy to them, right? Overall, a really good thing. Reduce basic attack damage. Remember, that's all basic attacks from everything. Everything that has a basic attack that performs some sort of attack that's basic, that is an ability, like Or Prime's abilities. Not those. Every basic attack by units in the game. So, yeah, really good physical armor tank item, really. And more just if you really need it. So, really awesome. Had to try and buff received sound effects, so a little bit more feedback when you actually get that, so that's good. And Grimm's LMB Fire and On Hit have been updated as well, so they sound much better. Sound really good. Really good feedback when you're hitting things and when you're shooting the big energy cannon thing of his. Gideon overall VFX and Chimera overall VFX have been improved. Been adding some juice, adding some VFX to their abilities to help show and help give them oomph and response. And VFX added on his arms and eyes now that glows. Basically, his arms and eyes now glow when his passive ability is ready to use. It looks so sick and so awesome. And mainly, now as an enemy, you can tell when Gideon has his passive up, which was a big issue. You had no idea if he could absolutely demolish you with 3 abilities. So now you can see that as an enemy, and that's really kind of the key thing. Plus it looks absolutely sick. Chimera, overall VFX again improved. VFX that indicates when he gains passive stacks, a little light coming out of his back. Looks really awesome. Again, just juice. VFX system was reworked a little while ago. So now get to juice everything up. Murdoch now has a different VFX that indicates when his passive is active. So it looks really good. Looks really good when you're chasing somebody down, because it has new VFX on that target. It looks really good. So some bug fixes. Queen was giving energy power. So now it'll be very good for Queen and mages overall. Boris, his Q attack speed went through a little bit of kind of a rework. So there's an issue with his Q giving basically no attack speed. Now it gives the right amount. Countess as well. Her passive, it's not giving any regen, so now it is, which she was surprisingly still strong. Grim, he was not playing the correct on-hit SFX, which kind of goes in with the thing up here. They were both not working and they were updated. As far as E, again, attack speed issue. It's not giving scaling, was not giving the correct amount of attack speed per level. It wasn't scaling up with it. Steel Q, fixing an issue causing Steel to be able to charge while in stasis. Obviously an issue. And Eldritch Flame should now correctly say that it only applies on ability hits. So when you hit with an ability, it now applies, not necessarily on subsequent tick damage or anything like that. It's on ability hit. So pretty self-explanatory. Lots of ward spots were changed with the map. Again, a spot has been doing absolutely fantastic work on jungles, fixing up collision and making sure that things just are playable or not playable. So you could hide wards inside curved wall near blue buff, floating wards where you would slide on or get stuck at the red buff floor, not be able to place indestructible wards near the entrance to red jungle from dual lane dawn side. You could kind of hide it. You can hide it away, and then nobody could get to it. Fix a bug where players got stuck inside the rock pile near the staircase towards mid lane from red jungle. There's a little kind of rock pile there. So that's fixed. Prime also changed to be slimmer, so it doesn't look like you can walk there. We don't want you to be able to just sit up there, and nobody can touch you. So that's good. Prime walls are now easier to jump over for heroes with movement abilities. Also good. And players cannot place wards on top of these walls anymore. Awesome. Fix an issue because he likes to permanently shoot a hero even when they aren't nowhere near. When they're nowhere near it, obviously good. So balance. Aspects, Warlock bonus damage reduced from 20 to 16. Want it to be a bonus. 20%, little bit much, little strong, especially on some combo-based heroes, so reducing that just a wee tiny little bit. We have Opportunist, cooldown reduction on Trinket increased from 15 to 30%, so whenever you are spotted by a ward, your Trinket's cooldown gets reduced to twice as much, 30%. So hopefully, that lets you put out more, probably some more rad pulses, so you can clear wards out. Just helps with clearing, and helps make this aspect hopefully more relevant. It was, we took a look at the stats, wasn't very promising, so we're giving that some love. Bonus damage to isolated targets increased from 5% to 8% increased damage to isolated targets. So any sort of assassin or ganking hero that you're really going to be ganking lots, or trying to sneak around on your target or move throughout the map a lot, may want to consider this a bit more of this patch. Very exciting. White favor, the cooldown reduction granted per favor has been increased from 1 to 1.5. The cooldown reduction formula was changed, so need to give the cooldown reduction per favor a little bit more value, and here it is. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more relevant for supports, especially mostly supports, since mostly supports are going to get it, but also others, and just make it more relevant for anybody that takes it, given that they typically don't get as much favor as anyone else. Gideon has been really strong, and his RMB now is 40% less damage to lane minions. You simply had too much of a presence. He could lane clear way too easily, and then be off on the map. Especially with this teleport, he could really get to places really quick, and he just way too much presence and was able to influence the map too much. Now he needs to commit to clearing the waves a little bit more to be in line with other casters, and so there's a bit more to it than maybe what you would think initially. The projectile size reduced by 50%, so I have to be quite a bit more accurate with the RMB, which is completely just fine. Still works very nicely on a line of minions, but you have to be more accurate with it. It was really easy to hit. I have to be more accurate, more skillful with it, which is good. Explosion radius also reduced from 200 to 150. Exactly the same thing. Help reduce that maximum range of it by 50 units. Also, you have to be, again, a little bit more accurate with it. Still clear waves just as nice, effectively, but the overall damage is reduced. His passive slow has also been reduced, mostly here up in the high tiers. 40%'s quite a bit. So just reduced down just a bit, 18 to 30%. Greystone base damage reduced overall just slightly, especially when you scale it up. Mostly, again, kind of similar issue to Gideon. He had a bit too much presence, ability to just clear a wave, and then just go and do whatever he wants. So he needs to commit to that a little bit more. Little less damage there. Also might incentivize you to upgrade other abilities first as well, even though this is probably still going to be your first ability that you upgrade. May incentivize you to upgrade others as well. Grimm's Grimm's Q, this is his knockback Q. Energy cost reduced 150 to 100 to 110 to 90. So now you can shoot any two E's you want. So you can do two red E's, two blue E's, and you can still use your orange Q, which you couldn't do before. So a little bit more versatility, but it's definitely not spammable, which is definitely what we not wanted when he was first reduced. So you can't spam it, which is very good, but a little bit more usable, a little bit more often. So items, cooldown reduction increase again. Cooldown reduction formula changed, and we want to give it a while to see how that impacted things. Now we have seen it. We have increased cooldown reduction on items on the following from 10 to 15. Boots of Haste, so mostly support boots, have gotten an increase. Telepath's Trinket, Traveler's Augment, Purity of the Ancients, and Robe of Miracles. Mostly support items, but you'll see some other stuff coming soon. That should... help you appreciate that a little bit more. So very exciting. Hopefully CDR's, that's what you want as a support, your abilities. Don't know why I had trouble saying that. That's your power. That's your influence on the map. That's your most powerful thing is your abilities. So being able to use them more often, exactly what you want to do. Bracelet of Opulence, healing increase from 10 plus 2 per hero level, so 10 to 46. To 50 plus 2.5 per hero level. So 50 to 95. Basically, what? Multiplying by 5 quintuples, and the doubles in the late. Basically, melee supports, hopefully, and even somebody like Narbash, much more viable. Much more healing involved in there. And I'm going to give it a little bit of love just to make that part of it, the actual healing part of it, relevant, which is what we want. And then if there's any issues with that, we can tune other areas that make it too strong. But wanted to actually make that healing actually relevant, because 10 every 45 seconds, It doesn't add up to very much, does it? So now it's 50 plus 2.5 per hero level every 45 seconds. Awesome. Camouflage module. Totally changed because its pick rate and win rate were, were abysmal. Camouflage module, and of course, we want to help our items to be useful and picked and get use out of what we have. Camouflage module is now a component of stealth tech and no longer a legendary item. No longer a legendary item. Gold cost reduced from 2,800 to 1,300, so it's now a component. Now builds out of an academy pistol and a green thumb. The physical power reduced from 55 to 20, and the health reduced to 175. So essentially, it's a component now that allows you to stand still, go into stealth, get some bonus damage when you come out of it. It's a component, costs 1,300, gets 20 physical power and 175 health, and builds out of academy pistol and green thumb. Keep that in mind when we get something else later on. Devourer's Blade, the active has been removed. Essentially, it actually ended up hurting you more than helping you. So really, just got rid of it. Not important part of the item. The passive was really the main focus of it. So, keep it simple, stupid. Maximum shield has been increased a bit because that active has been removed. From 15 times hero level to 20 times hero level. Enlightened Saber, sharpens Shiv, component replaced with Shadow Strike. Why? Oh, you'll see later. Physical power increased from 55 to 65, and cooldown reduction increased from 10 to 15. So a little buff here to Enlightened Saber. And then the component replaced, because you'll see why, because Sharpened Shiv has changed. Eldritch Flame, subsequent applications of the passive effect will now refresh the effect's duration instead of stacking. Huge problem with somebody like Morgesh, for example, who, you could really stack that up really quick. A lot of the mages, you could stack it up. Anybody could really stack it up really quick, and that's just not what we wanted. Wanted it always to be you apply it and then you refresh the duration, just like trauma, stuff like that. Exosuit, gold cost increased from 1,100 to 1,150, health decreased from 250 to 200, and energy armor increased from 25 to 35. Might seem a bit strange, but basically what this is doing is just shifting its stats around. Had to increase gold cost a little bit. So just so that the numbers worked out, we can reduce the health but increase the energy armor. Make it a little bit more relevant to what it kind of is supposed to be and what it builds from, but also make it more sensible as to what it builds into. So you're getting more energy armor. So now there's a reason to take exosuit instead of just a barrier, besides what they also build into. Just makes it into its own little area of the item shop, makes it a little bit more relevant there. Good. Growth implant. Gold cost was reduced from 1,500 to 1,200. I implore you to do the math here. I'm not going to do it here for you, but do the math. I'll just tell you. Should become efficient. It should become 100% efficient after 10 minutes of wearing. Take what you will from that. So before it was, I'll let you do the math for that. Jars of Hearts, physical power increased from 30 to 45. Lifesteal has been removed, is now built from a sharpened Shiv, tempered vial, and serrated blade. Probably best to have this as a visual, but basically it's much more helpful into what it actually does. The lifesteal you get from the actual passive, of Jar of Hearts, the actives, pardon me, and take a look at it. Feels much better as to what Jar of Hearts is supposed to do. Go and take a look at that. Safeguard Amulet now grants 10 cooldown reduction, and therefore, because we're adding a stat to it, need to change up its components. Now builds from a mana matrix and a power cell. So little bit more, a more source of cooldown reduction for mages, right? Anybody else really that wants that shield? It's a good option, good included option there for mages. So sharpened shiv, it used to be a component here for enlightened saber. It's now changed. No longer grants flat physical penetration, now grants 35 energy armor, and gold cost increase from 850 to 1300. So it's a physical power and energy armor component. The only one that gives physical power and energy armor component, so that it can build into Jar of Hearts. So yeah, Jar of Hearts is your physical power and is the only, at the moment, physical power and energy armor option. So now it builds more effectively, and the tree, yeah. The biggest issue with Jar of Hearts is that it had 4 top components, and now it only has 3. Now it only has 3. So it's much more easy on your equipment bar than before, and then you can build into it much easier. The upgrade costs are just much easier, much more fluid. Feels infinitely better to build Jar of Hearts now, and Sharpened Shiv is part of that. Shiny Bangle, Valor cooldown reduced from 45 to 40 seconds. So this is what upgrades into the bracelet. This is what you have right from the beginning of the game. You can again get the cooldown, the Valor cooldown. You can get those Valor charges a little bit sooner, and the healing has been increased a ton as well. Basically kind of the same amount as the other one. So healing for melee supports right from the get-go, much more helpful. Steel support, hopefully much more relevant. Ritual support's already strong, but the healing, making more of that support, which is good. It's a missing dynamic from these that should be there. So if there's any other problems, we can bring anything else down. Stealth tech. Now this is interesting. Stealth tech. Updated the item art to make it a little bit more legendary, because it's now a legendary item, and builds from camouflage module and shadow strike. So we talked earlier about camouflage module. It's now a component of stealth tech. Gold cost increased from 1100 to 2800. So it's not terribly expensive. It's a little bit cheaper on the legendary side, but physical power increased from 15 to 45, so it gets 45 physical power, which is pretty darn good. Also grants 10 physical pen, 175 health, and 35 movement speed. 45 physical power, 10 physical pen, health, and movement speed. That's a fantastic item that has an active to go into Shadow Plane for 3 seconds. So it's basically, if you can pick this up on Kalari, it's like a weakened Q. You basically have kind of a second, much more weak Q that also doesn't grant you bonus damage when coming out of it. But hey, another 3 seconds of stealth. Anybody that wants to take this, you want to be some stealthy chimera, that sounds terrifying. You want to be some sort of stealthy Boris, that sounds terrifying as well. Anybody that benefits of physical power, yeah, gonna be really interesting again. Hopefully becomes a little bit more relevant, a bit more of a relevant option, an actual option for you to take, which is very, very exciting. Radiant Poise radius increase from 500 to 650. 500's really, really small. It's not even a Quang E, so give that a little bit of help, also because it was seeing that it wasn't doing too well. Unyielding Mantle, also an item that wasn't doing too well. Gold cost reduced just a bit, to help with its efficiency. Energy armor increased also 55 to 60. Make it a little bit more designed for a particular role, and now also grants 10 cooldown reduction as well. So combine all of this. Much more efficient. It wasn't very efficient before. It's kind of giving it a little bit of help overall. Juggle buffs. Now for the map. Initial spawn time increased from 120 to 125. The leashes that junglers were getting, a little too strong. A little too able to get that get that red buff, get that blue buff quickly, and then the junglers could therefore, kind of a domino effect, get to the next camp, clear that too quickly, get higher levels and influence the map too fast. So it's actually quite a bit of a domino effect that really starts to add up. So that is that's going to be quite surprising, the effects of just those 5 seconds. Really important. Shrines, physical and energy armor reduced from 20 to 0. Now it feels much better to take earlier on, but they still scale over the game. So that's really quite exciting. Health and mana gain from damaging shrines can also occur from damaging abilities, but it can only occur once per ability. So it may not sound like much, but remember that every single ability that you do hit, every basic attack, every ability that you do hit on shrines, it's 10% of your missing mana that you get back, and 3 or 2.5% or something like that, missing health that you get back. So if you use 3 abilities on it, that's 30%. Almost 10% of your missing health. That's a lot. So even though you're not using as many abilities on it as basics, at least in the early game, it will help. It will add up over time. Minions, we're trying to make our minions interact a little bit more better. Super minions physical armor was reduced from 100 to 80, really quite tanky, and the base damage reduced from 250 to 225. The damage I'll comment on after. Lane minions, melee, range, and siege minion base damage and damage increase per 90 seconds lowered by 50%. So base damage is lowered a bit, and their health increase per 90 seconds increased by about 20%. May sound like a lot, but it's only 380 additional health for siege minion at the 30-minute mark. And siege minions are the ones that scale the most. Range minions, like this will be like 20 additional health for them. Melee, like 100 or something like that. Like it's really not that much. But when you're talking about minions versus minions, that actually starts to get quite a sizable amount of basically effective HP, or rather the time it takes minions to kill each other quite a bit. So really the damage and the health here is hopefully will result in minion waves able to gather on one side of the map more than they do now. And that's a bit of an issue. You really should be able to collect bigger waves than you do currently. And that's not really, and that's a key MOBA gameplay. It's a key MOBA element that we don't really have and haven't really found the sweet spot for that. This is an attempt to make that better. But now that they've reduced lower damage, the damage against heroes is not an issue. So now, we just increased by the same amount. So good. There we go. There's a patch. A lot of item changes, a few hero changes, a lot of bug fixes, and some pretty juicy VFX changes. Really exciting patch. Really love it. I hope you guys are excited. Come and play. It's awesome. Awesome. Stuff in the future, guys, looks and is incredible. I can't wait for these coming months, because it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. So there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Come play 13.6. Head me up. Hopefully I'll be streaming tonight. Couple nights. We'll see. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, like always, stay positive and optimistic.